everybody. It's Bethany's birthday. We've got to make her a birthday cake. I'm going to make angel food cake out of a box. I know I'm a cooking teacher and I should be able to do it from scratch. But it's 4:05 and we're going to have dinner in an hour and a half, so I got to get this made. I procrastinated. It's okay. I want to talk about box mixes though, because you can always do what the box says, but a lot of times a box gives you other ideas of what you can do with it. And if you want to learn Spanish, you can learn Spanish by baking. I always say to the kids, if you can read, you can cook. The hint is you have to read, okay? So I'm just going to go over some box things. This is a brownie mix. Most of the time I just buy a plain brownie mix because they're cheaper. And then I add my own walnuts to it, or sometimes I add peanut butter drops in it. You could do so much with that. And it always tells you, and it has pictures of what you need to add to it. So that's an easy thing to make. Blueberry muffins. Nice and easy too. Also tells you what you need and it shows you how to measure it out. It also might give you a separate recipe down at the bottom. This one gives a citrus blueberry loaf. So that's pretty cool. You can take a box mix and make something other than what it calls for. Just read the whole box. It's pretty cool. But we're going to make an angel food cake. In our family, we like angel food cake with cherries and nuts. If you watched my banana bread, you know that we like nuts. So we're going to put nuts in it. But here's my angel food cake. All right, so this is probably the easiest box ever because it calls for the box mix and 1 1/3 cups of water. So let's read the directions. As I told you, if you can read, you can cook. It says move oven rack to lowest. Oh, first off, already washed my hands. You better do the same before you start cooking. I was just at the sink before we started. Move oven rack to the lowest position. If using the angel food pan, remove your other racks. I have a very big new oven, and so mine is quite spacious, and I don't need to move my racks. I've already made an angel food cake a couple weeks ago. It was all good. Don't have to worry about that. Heat your oven to 350 degrees. All right, so I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to put my oven up, and it said 350. I'm going to hit start, and we're going to let it warm up. You always want to bake with a preheated oven. If you put your cakes in or cookies in, muffins in before the oven is preheated, it won't cook correctly. So make sure you're preheating your oven. All right, next ingredient or next directions say, beat your cake mix and water in an extra large glass or metal bowl. Okay, I'm going to use my kitchen shears here and I'm going to pour my mix in here. Now, angel food cake, what this is sugar and egg whites. Just dried egg whites. You can make a homemade angel food cake with lots of eggs, but we're going to use a box today. It's very good making it by scratch. I already measured out the water. Remember, when you're measuring out water, you're going to use a liquid measuring cup, and you're going to set it on a counter, and you're going to make sure that you have the correct measurement. And I might have just right amount. Excellent. So I'm going to pour that in there. I'm going to get a rubber scraper out, and got to get my mixer ready. I didn't plug it in yet. Today is Bethany's 21st birthday, so we're pretty excited for her. I don't know how that happened, because I'm not that old, am I? Anyway, what does it say? It says beat this with the water on low speed for 30 seconds and then beat on medium speed for 1 minute. Once again, don't do it for 3 thinking more is better, because when you're making cakes and cookies and muffins, more is not better, all right? You need to follow the directions. So I'm going to mix this up for about 30 seconds. That was 10. That was 20. That was 30. All right, so I'm going to turn it up a little bit more. Oh, I forgot mine goes backwards. That was low. We're going to go back to medium. And now we're going to do it for 1 minute. We want the cloth on the microwave. And you can see it's just getting bigger and bigger. So you get all that powder. You never grease the pan for an angel food cake. It needs the sides to grow up on so it gets nice and big. That's why you need to use a big bowl, because we're beating those egg whites so they get nice and fluffy. What are you having for dinner tonight? We're having pulled pork barbecued sandwiches and a fresh fruit salad. All right, this has been a minute. So I'm going to turn this off. Never pull your mixer out till you've turned it off. If you have it swirling around and you pull it out, you're going to get covered with cake mix. Don't want that to happen. Your mother doesn't want you to make a mess of the kitchen that way either. All right. You can beat that off. Angel food cake is very light, so you shouldn't really have to use the rubber scraper to get that off. All right. I'm going to throw those in my measuring cup because I don't need those. I'm going to add a cup of walnuts and a jar of cherries. I already pre-chopped up my walnuts so that they're a little bit smaller. And I used my shears to cut my cherries up into pieces. It's a lot easier to do it this way than it is with a knife. If you don't have kitchen shears, then use a knife. But this is just a great, easy way. You want to make sure that you're draining off the liquid. Otherwise, your cake will be pink, which isn't a bad thing, but it also cooks a little bit differently with that liquid. So I had drained most of it off, but I see there's a lot more liquid in here. So we're going to try to leave that behind. That's why I'm not pouring that in. How's everybody doing out there? I'm sure missing you. Hopefully we'll be back in a couple weeks. And then we'll really get to do some cooking and sewing and chatting. All right, we're gonna fold these in. When we say fold, you're going to scrape around the side and bring it up over. And you're gonna do it very gently because you don't want to overstir. You don't want the air to collapse out, to come out of your dough. So you're gonna very slowly. You can see that I'm not really stirring it. This is called folding, and you do it very, very gently. Scrape the bottom, bring up over. Scrape the bottom, bring up over. Scrape the bottom, bring up over. And as you do it, you turn your bowl so that you're getting different parts. Okay, I'm going to come up through the center and make sure. All right, I think that's pretty good. I'm going to dump this in the cake pan, and then I'm going to put it into the oven. And it says for an angel food cake pan for 40 minutes, to 37 to 47 minutes. So I'm going to probably set mine for 42 because that's halfway between, and check it then. It needs to be very dry. Once you get it out of the oven, you turn it upside down on a bottle so it doesn't collapse. You want it to be nice and fluffy. And when you cut an angel food cake, you also want to use a sharp knife. If you don't use like a bread knife that cuts through, because if you don't do that, you're going to smash your cake. Also, before you get it out of the pan, you need to go around the edge of it because, as I said, we don't grease the pan. So it fall out like your other cakes do. So you need to make sure it's loose so it comes out. And you can put whatever kind of icing you want on it. You don't even need to put icing on angel food cake. Maybe you want to cover it with strawberries and whipped cream. But it's a great dessert. Missing y'all. Hope to see you soon.